my audience is still here, we're gonna do another one. So this speech is called Dealing with Loss in the Workplace. And recently, I lost one of my crew members at my store. This was a real experience for me. It was actually really difficult, and I still am having trouble getting through it. Sean Fernandez passed away on April 8th, 2019. He was only 21 years old. He had an asthma attack, and he collapsed. By the time the paramedics got to him, it had been too long that he had gone without oxygen. He went into a coma. They put him on a medically induced one after a while, and then they decided to slowly take him off. As they took him off, there was still no response. His brain activity went from sporadic to erratic to none. I had a chance to see him in the hospital before he passed away. I had a chance to say my goodbye, and I know he could hear me. It was really, really difficult. There was me, my assistant manager, his whole family was there. Another manager from another store that happened to be his sister was there. And it was extremely difficult to see him sitting there, when all I could think about is him waking up, looking at me and Simone, and saying, "Hell yeah, what are you guys doing here?" And that's the only thing I could really hope at that time, was that he was just gonna wake up and be excited to see us. So how does that really feel? It's actually extremely difficult to describe how it feels. For me, I felt really empty inside, knowing that there's nothing I could do to help bring him back. I could only wait and hope. It's extremely hard to talk about. Doing this right now is even hard. I have a hard time dealing with this because he was a key spark at our store. It's absolutely surreal that he's gone. He was only 21. There was nothing that prompted this other than a random asthma attack that he's been dealing with since he was a little kid. It's like a sinking feeling in your stomach. It's like that part where you're going down a roller coaster and you start going back up and you get that weird feeling lurch in your stomach. It's like that, but there's no satisfaction of it. It helps remind you that life is fragile. It really reminded me of my mortality. I'm driving a little bit more careful. I'm watching the road. I'm looking out for pedestrians. I'm being more careful when I walk around my kitchen and say, sharp, I have a sharp object in my hand, or I'm walking around a corner just so I don't crash into somebody. And I'm going to miss the spark that he provided. He was a key spark to our store and really made a difference in the grand scheme of things in creating a positive atmosphere at my store. Telling others. I think this was absolutely the hardest part of my job, and here we are doing it one more time. As the general manager of my store, I had to tell everybody. I had to tell all of my staff what had happened. I had to be there for a comfort to those that needed it. They were all his friends and family, and having to be that support person while going through a loss at the same time is extremely difficult, I found out. This is a new experience. I had to make sure that my entire message was universal across all age groups. I have aged 16 to 54 years old at my store and had to tell the same story and be consistent about it and trying to develop something along those lines. I had to go above and beyond to collect tools and resources and information for people that may have needed it outside of myself that my company happened to provide to give to these people and try and counsel them through this or have them be counseled if I couldn't do it. And I think that really the hardest part was that I had to be a support for people, and I didn't always have that support for myself. I had to be self-sustaining and be able to provide that for people, and that was extremely difficult. Sean was a fantastic person, and this world is a little less bright because he's gone. And I really hope that other people can understand that and see where we are going with it. And there's my panel.